Hey guys, so today we're going to be reading Thomas Snowsuit by Annika Press, Robert Munch, and Michael Marchenko. Here are the pages. One day, Thomas' mother bought him a nice new brown snowsuit. When Thomas saw that the snowsuit, he said, "That is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. If you think that I'm going to wear that ugly snowsuit, you are crazy!" Thomas' mother said, "We will see about that." The next day, when it was time to go to school, the mother said, "Thomas, please put on your snowsuit." And Thomas said, "No!" His mother jumped up and down and said, "Thomas, put on that snowsuit." And Thomas said, "No!" So Thomas' mother picked up Thomas in one hand, picked up the snowsuit in the other hand. She tried to stick them together. They had an enormous fight, and when it was done, Thomas was in his snowsuit. Thomas went up to school and hung up his snowsuit. When it was time to go outside, all of the other kids jumped into their snowsuits and ran out the door. But not Thomas. The teacher looked at Thomas and said, "Thomas, please put on your snowsuit." Thomas said, "No!" The teacher jumped up and down and said, "Thomas, put on that snowsuit." And Thomas said, "No!" So the teacher picked up Thomas in one hand, picked up the snowsuit in the other hand, and she tried to stick them together. They had an enormous fight, and when they were done, the teacher was wearing Thomas' snowsuit, and Thomas was wearing the teacher's dress. When the teacher saw what she was wearing, she picked up Thomas in one hand and tried to get him back into his snowsuit. They had an enormous fight. When they were done, the snowsuit and the dress were tied into a great big knot on the floor, and Thomas and the teacher were in their underclothes. Just then the door opened, and in walked the principal. The teacher said, "It's Thomas. He won't put on his snowsuit." The principal gave his very best principal look and said, "Thomas, put on your snowsuit." And Thomas said, "No!" So the principal picked up Thomas in one hand, and he picked up the teacher in the other hand, and he tried to get them back into their clothes. When he was done, the principal was wearing the teacher's dress, the teacher was wearing the principal's suit, and Thomas was still in his underwear. Then from far out in the playground someone yelled, "Thomas, come and play!" Thomas ran across the room, jumped into his snowsuit, got his boots in 2 seconds, and ran out of the door. The principal looked at the teacher and said, "Hey, you have on my suit. Take it off right now!" The teacher said, "Oh no, you have on my dress. You should take it off first." Well, they argued and argued and argued, but neither one had to change first. Finally, Thomas came in for recess. He looked at the principal and he looked at the teacher. Thomas picked up the principal in one hand. He picked up the teacher in the other hand. They had an enormous fight and Thomas got everybody back into their clothes. The next day, the principal quit their job and moved to Arizona, where nobody ever wears a snowsuit. The end. Okay, so it's time to ask 5 questions about what you learned from this book. Number 1. What did Thomas' mom buy for Thomas? A. Is it a brown snowsuit? B. Is it a shoe? C. Is it a small piano? Or D. Is it a Mario set? Number 2. What was Thomas' response if he were to wear his snowsuit? A. No. B. I hate it. C. I don't want it. Or D. I don't want to wear it at all. Number 3. Thomas was in school. He was on his teacher's. The teacher asked, Thomas, put on your snowsuit. And Thomas said, No! If you were Thomas and your teacher asked you to put on your snowsuit, what would you do? A. You say no, just like Thomas earlier. B. Would you follow your teacher's orders? Or C. Would you respectfully ask not to keep her business on you? Or D. Just firmly put on the snowsuit without saying yes or no. Number 4. The principal comes here. The teacher and Thomas, they are fighting together. And the principal stopped them from fighting. Everyone, especially the three of them, had no mercy at all. And they just changed into improper clothes. If you were one of them, would you also do the same thing? A. Yes. B. No. C. Shut up and don't care about it. Or D. It's none of your business. Lastly, number 5. If you were to pry on your teacher and you were going to wear your teacher's clothing, you're going to say, That's none of your business. Your teacher automatically has your snowsuit. Thomas has the principal's clothes, and the principal had the teacher's dress. Everyone had no mercy. Someone stopped them. Who would it be? A. Thomas' mom. B. A sister. C. A noun. Or D. There's no one in there. Please answer in the comments.